Hello, and thanks for downloading the Fish House Nation podcast. Joining us today is outfitter and former Fish House Nation guest, Mike Howe. Mike, welcome to the Fish House Nation.
Thanks, Chris. Good to be back.
Mike, we talked to you last year at the St. Paul Ice Show. This year has been very different when it comes to shows. It's been practically no shows. As an outfitter, how has that affected your business?
Well, the show season for us typically revolves around the St. Paul show, obviously. When it comes to our ice fishing operation, that's the granddaddy, and we will attend others if scheduling allows. But, you know, for somebody coming from Montana to come out too many times to the Midwest to do those shows, if they're not back to back to back, it's tough. So first time in, I think, 9 years that we haven't gone to St. Paul. So I know, that's the situation for all of us, but.
Yeah, kind of been a weird deal. And really, this season has been strange, throughout. And I know you guys do open water stuff as well. And with COVID casting a cloud over so much this year, how has that kind of affected your business as far as getting bookings and being able to get people out on the water? How have you guys kind of worked through that over the past season?
Well, I'll tell you, Chris, 2020 was our busiest season by far, in any expectation whatsoever. Middle of April, first part of May, I had no idea what was going to happen. I was telling my guides to be prepared for the worst. Montana did open up, mid-June, and the floodgates opened. I literally spent June, July, August, and September on the phone, on the email. We booked over 1,000 charters with 7 guides from the 1st of July through the middle of November. Fort Peck was busy as well. And coming into the ice fishing season, December and January has been the busiest for us as well. Now that's Montana. A whole new group of people have discovered Montana, decided, it was a place they could go this summer. They drove there. They got to experience a lot of what, normal, but a lot of restrictions. We in the outfitting business, thankfully, outdoor activity, we had a good solid waiver system. People knew what to expect. Over 4,000 people on the boats. We did not get a single case of a guide getting sick or anyone tracing a transmission back to us. So very blessed in that aspect. But I'm also planning on 2021 being as busy as these folks that discovered Montana last year are going to come back. They've already told us they're coming back with family, with friends. And like I said, our ice fishing bookings are already proof that they want to come back and see Montana in the winter. Real estate sales, accordingly, have gone through the roof. Median home prices have jumped like crazy. That's kind of how I find myself in North Dakota, as we talked a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. Last year, we were talking about ice fishing Fort Peck, and it sounded to me like Fort Peck was like the holy land of ice fishing. It was the place to go. I was fired up after our interview. I wanted to go there, but things have been tough out there this year as far as ice. What's going on with the ice conditions out there?
Yeah, the mildest weather all across eastern Montana, western North Dakota, South Dakota. It just seems that there's a belt there that is just not getting any cold. Crooked Creek, which is on the far west end of Fort Peck Reservoir, is the only place on Fort Peck that has any ice, and that's marginal at best. So unfortunately, with hundreds of people not getting to go do their normal Canadian ice fishing adventures, our requests for bookings to Fort Peck have been more than we've ever seen. Unfortunately, there's not any ice in sight for Fort Peck right now, which is unfortunate because a lot of people were going to get to experience this year, and they still may. But here we are, the third week in January, and the main lake hasn't even seen a skim of ice yet. So I know you guys were planning on coming out, and probably not the year for it.
Yeah, kind of a tough deal. It's the ice has been really strange here too. I actually just went out and checked kind of my home lake that I fish quite a bit, and usually around January 1st, trucks are going out there. And I was out
Sure.
yesterday with the truck, but I would say that I'm kind of one of the early adopters out there. There were maybe 20 other trucks out there, and that was about it. But I think things are finally starting to set up. We're finally starting to get some weather here. The lows the last 2 days have been in the single digits, so things are
Sure.
happen. You guys, with all the things going on at Fort Peck, you have pivoted. What are you up to in North Dakota? You alluded to it a little bit earlier, so tell us about what you got going on in North Dakota.
Yeah, so obviously our business is still thriving in Montana, Western Montana, Eastern Montana. I've had a soft spot in my heart for northern North Dakota, Devil's Lake region up to the border for 6 or 8 years now, traveling through here on the way to St. Paul, fishing, making friends. And we've seen over the last couple of years that as you move north of Devil's Lake, there's a huge void in any opportunity for folks to come up here and be guided for some of the trophy panfish around here. There are some lakes up here that are really good rainbow trout fishing. North Dakota has a great rainbow stocking program in a couple of the lakes up here. And it's just a beautiful place. And Chris, I'm going to be 60 here in a couple of months. And I can't pound the mountains chasing elk anymore like I used to. I'm getting into the bird hunting. I'm getting into the more, lowland elevation, big game hunting. So we were looking around for a place around here for a couple of years. And of course, with COVID, it just seemed like this area was a good place to be. So we sold our home in Kalispell this summer, and we bought a fifth wheel and started traveling. And we got here, and everything, all the pieces just fell into place. And when that happens, something's going on. So we bought a small home here that we're fixing up, put ourselves right in the middle of some great hunting and fishing. And the work is finding me. We're getting calls. The funny thing is the folks that want to go to Fort Peck, I'm letting them know that I got some stuff going on here in North Dakota, and they're like, well, we'll come fish with you in North Dakota. So, and we do have good ice around here. Metigoshe's got 20 to 22 inches of ice on it. Almost all the lakes around here are showing good ice. So, the business is still solid in Montana. We're going to be probably seasonally here in North Dakota. North Dakota in the winter and Western Montana in the summer. I've always done things a little backwards, but it tends to work out for me.
That sounds like a good time. Tell us a little bit about some of the waters that you are fishing, that you're outfitting in North Dakota. You mentioned Metigoshe. For people who are unfamiliar with that, tell me about that. What's interesting, I think, is our discussion, I think, off the air last year. I was talking to you about what your favorite fish was, and you
Yep.
had fish. You're like, yeah, I got Fort Peck. We've got trout, we've got northern, we got walleye, we got all these fish. I'm like, well, what do you like? I like to catch bluegills. It's a little bit about
As I
Metigoshe.
said, yeah. Sometimes I'm hard to figure out, but I seem to like it like that. Yeah, Metigoshe, right on the Canadian border, an amazing bluegill fishery, and right up front, as most fisheries go, you have peaks and valleys. 6, 8 years ago, you probably didn't catch too many 7 and 8 inch bluegills on Metigoshe. They were all big. But those older mature fish, they don't live forever, and they either get caught or they die of old age. So it's still an incredible bluegill fishery. When you catch these 8.5 to 9 inch and larger bluegills, they're the chunkiest fish you'll find anywhere. But a really good crappie population is coming on. They did a big stocking program in 2017. So black crappies in Metigoshe now are probably people go there for the bluegills, but they leave very happy with the crappie, as well as walleye and a great northern fishery. So solid 4 species fishery with a lot of other lakes around the area as well. Mentioned some rainbow fishing, a lot of lakes with solid northern populations. And that's one thing I haven't done a lot of fish tip-ups or iFish Pros or Arctic Warriors for northerns. And that's something that I'm finding myself chasing quite a bit this year. North Dakota has an incredible northern pike stocking program in a lot of these lakes, very popular. So, so that's something that we got going on as well. But we just like chasing hot bites, no matter what's on the end of the line.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about what it would be like somebody wanted to book a trip with you, kind of how the process goes and what that trip would be like.
Sure. So I'm working with a young man up here. His name is Clay Houle, and we have together started his guide service. It's called CNC Guide Service, and Clay specializes in bluegill. And he's an enrolled member in the Turtle Mountain Tribe, so he has access to some lakes that I say can't get on or guide on. So depending on what you want to come chase, we have sleeper fish houses for rent. We can do multi-days. We can do multi-lakes. I'm a teacher, and sometimes, as you well know, getting on these trophy panfish is difficult. These fish can be as hard to catch as a 30-inch walleye. So there are tactics and techniques that obviously I'm still learning every day, but we do have multi-lakes. We'll go after panfish. We have the variety is what really helps. Folks can come up, spend a couple days on the same lake, chase 4 different species, much like Fort Peck. When we tout Fort Peck for the trophy predator fish, we have a mix of predator fish and panfish as well. So a little bit of everything. And we'll be doing some open water stuff as well in the springtime. But, I'll be heading back to Montana probably by Memorial Day.
You got yourself a hard house this year.
Got a Wheelhouse.
And how that's going.
Yeah, I love it. I bought a smaller one. It's a toy hauler. So now I'm fully self-contained. I can take my 4-wheeler or my snowmobile, get on a good bite. I can stay there for a few days. It's a great, base camp, as it were, because it's something I can crank up and move almost as easy as a big portable. I'm so excited about that. And we also have a really nice sleeper house available out on Metigoshe for rent, whether you're just looking for a place to spend the night and fish on your own, or if you're part of a guided package. But yeah, Wheelhouse life is pretty nice. Again, as just nice to know you got a nice place to go back to and hunker down with the heat already turned on.
Yeah, and just being able to kind of live out on the water and never leave. I mean, the cool thing about it for me is you're always fishing, even if sometimes you got your feet up and you're watching the TV, but lines are down. So I mean,
sure,
it's always hard to catch fish if you don't have lines down.
Well, that's right. And, for me, it seems like the phone's always ringing, the emails are always coming in. So, I don't feel like I have such a hard time catching up with things because I can stop what I'm doing and take care of business right then and there. So still a running gunner at heart, but yeah, I can see the attraction and allure of the hard house. And we're going to probably get a couple more for rentals as well and have them on a few different lakes. I've got a couple of lakes just, I'm 25 minutes from Irvin. I'm 15 minutes from Bisbee. I've got Long Lake and Island Lake in Rowlett County. So it's pretty easy for me to just pack up and go to another lake and know that when I get back to shore, I can make some coffee, cook a meal, catch up on emails. So yeah. I feel like I'm not neglecting business as much that way as well. So
yeah. Mike, is there something that if people want to get in touch with you, how do they look you up? How do they find you? They want to book a trip with you.
Sure. Our website is easy. It's howesfishing.com, the way you spell my last name, Howes. On Facebook, it's Howes Fishing, Able Charters. But yeah, I can be emailed. I can be found. I'm not a big social media. I'm not all over Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. It's kind of Facebook and the website. The thing I want to really impress the most, Chris, is conditions this year, as you mentioned early, are goofy, and you just can't fish by the calendar this year. Do not just drive a truck out because you see another truck out there. We've, as everybody has said, we've seen 15 inches of ice and we've seen 10 inches of ice within a couple of trucks from. So yeah, I'd love for people to reach out. Any questions about fishing North Dakota, Montana, happy to answer. Pretty easy to find. And we are going to get together and get out on Fort Peck, but I just don't think it's going to be this year. If it is, it'll probably be in April, when, you know, we still have ice until June. It may be that kind of winter. I hope not.
Yeah, it's just been a strange year, and everything is behind here as well. But hopefully, in the next week or two, things stiffen up with the weather that we've got coming in here.
Yeah, we got a lot of ice fishing season left, you know, mid-January. So
Yep, yep. The calendar's still early, even though it feels like it's the sands are ticking away. And
yeah,
so,
yeah, we do. We've got a lot of season left.
all right, Mike Howe, thanks very much for coming on the show. Really appreciate having you on.
You bet. Thanks, Chris.